Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Tech Talk here at MarketStream.live. My name is Joseph Cusick from the Cusick Group, securities offered by MoneyBlock. This is where we marry a little technical analysis. Take a look at some charts. So we're looking at a picture of what the market has been doing, and then we paint the picture going forward, and we look at the options pricing. And the options pricing have built into it a forecast of potential movement in the underlyings that we're going to take a look at. So it gives you some forecasts, some price points, some ranges that you could potentially look at as you go into major events, just general cycles and so forth. I think it gives everybody an opportunity then to temper their emotions. And speaking of emotions, we have quite an emotional event that's coming up. The Fed meeting started today, it will end tomorrow. There's a 93% probability that they're going to raise rates, folks. They're going to go at least a quarter of a point. Now, does it mean that they have to? No. But right now, the Fed fund futures are pricing in the potential of 93% probability of that happening. So I thought, why not take a look at four major sector ETFs that will give us some transparency on what we could expect to potentially happen tomorrow. The first one that I want to take a look at is an ETF that tracks bonds. It tracks the 10-year and the 30-year bonds in an ETF. It's called TLT. That's the ticker symbol. TLT is trading at 118.14. It's up about 42 cents. So bond prices are actually up today in front of the Fed announcement. Now, what are the options that are expiring in the next 3 days, pricing in for the potential of TLT to move into this Fed announcement tomorrow afternoon? Well, they're pricing in the potential of a 1.5% move in TLT. That means that it could either go up $1.85 or down $1.85. That's what the options marketplace is pricing in for potential movement in TLT. That's got to be interesting to everybody. So you really are looking at a range over the next 3 days of somewhere between 120 to the upside, and it could go as low as 116 and some change, right? 116.20, right around there. That's an interesting range. You now have a perspective going into the end of this week of where TLT that tracks the bond pricing could potentially move. Now, is that a violent potential move? Yes. When you look at what's called implied volatility, that's the input that they utilize to compute that implied or forecasted move. Right now, it is at the highest level it's almost been in 52 weeks. In other words, the last year. The critical levels that I'm going to be watching on TLT going into and after the announcement is going to be to the upside. TLT has been in a downward trend basically for the last 3 months. I'm going to watch the 120 level on TLT. I'm going to watch the 127 level and the 132 level. Those are going to be critical areas where I'm going to see resistance. If we see that the market is broken and gets above 120, then you could see that as a catalyst for bond prices to go up, which could be potentially negative for the overall market. Speaking of the overall market, one sector that we talk a lot about here at MarketStream.live is XLF, the finance sector. XLF is an ETF that tracks the finance names. It's trading at 23.55. It's up 3 cents today. The options right now are pricing in the potential for XLF, this $23 stock, to be either up or down, roughly around 2.3% going into the end of the week, or around 56 cents. So we can see the stock either at 24 and some change, or it could be at 22.95, right around there. Volatility is coming in at the mid-level. That's telling us that there is a heightened expectation of potential violent moves. The critical areas that I'm going to watch support areas. Finance has been red hot to the upside. Stock's been moving up, especially post the election. 22.68 on XLF is going to be first support level, and that will, if it breaks there, I'm going to question the short-term trend. 21, that's another level that I'm going to watch for support, as well as 22.46. So this area would be basically between 22.68 and 21. That's going to be a critical area if finance is going to continue to have this short-term trend to the upside, basically into January. Now take a look at energy. Energy's been red hot as of late. Oil has been moving to the upside. Crude now at over $53. XLE is the ETF that you can look at to generally just monitor the space. Trading at 77.99. That's the ETF that tracks energy stocks. Up $1.03. The options right now are pricing in the potential going into the Fed announcement tomorrow and into the end of this week that this ETF could be either up 1.7% or down 1.7%. In other words, about $1.34 either up or down. That's telling you that this stock could basically be at 79.30, or it could be as low as right around 76.60. So it has a decent range. Implied volatility is escalated. It's in that upper 2/3 of its 52-week range. That's telling you, folks, that there could be a violent move in energy. Now, the critical areas on XLE I'm going to watch, as far as price is concerned, is the 73.95 level and the 71.50 level. Those are the two levels I'm going to be watching very closely. And then, if the longer-term trend is in question, 67.75. Finally, we want to take a look at the overall market. We're going to take a look at the S&Ps. And the spiders are the ETF that I want to look at. And they're trading at 227.80 right now, up $1.55. Now, the options that are expiring in a couple days are pricing in the potential for the spiders to be either up or down about 0.7%, or $1.67. So that means that we could expect the range to be roughly, right now, going into the Fed announcement in the remainder of this week, that the spiders, the ETF that tracks the S&P 500, could be up either at 229, roughly almost 229.50, 229.60, or it could be as low as right around 225.60. So you could see a decent range there. Volatility, though, in the S&Ps is rather muted. Even though we've seen VIX, the volatility index that tracks the volatility in the S&Ps, move up, I'm going to watch critical levels at 221.70, 216.90, and 212 on the spiders. Those are going to be the critical support levels that I'll watch if I'm going to start questioning the trend, especially that 221 and that 216 level. All right, folks, now you have more transparency going into the Fed announcement tomorrow. You have ranges, you have support or resistance levels, and I'm painting a picture for you so now you can invest with more transparency. Join me at 4:30 Eastern Time today for the closing bell. Till then, have a great rest of the trading day. Take care.